So yeah, once again, guys, seller scripts is what we're going to be going over today. And it's going to be more of a workshop format where you guys get to participate and practice the script. The reason why is we're getting a lot of inquiries now through Zillow, through our online providers, through our ISAs who are calling and booking appointments. And so we need to start getting our army up and ready to perform, right, when we get these leads. Because right now, the majority of our seller leads are only going to a handful of people on our team, quite frankly, because they're the most experienced with sellers. But there is no reason why each and every one of you cannot start going out there and taking listings, right? It's just a matter of skill, confidence, the knowledge and stuff like that. But most of all, it's just doing the work, right? Doing the work to come in here and learn the scripts, practice it, get confident so that you can go, meet one of these sellers who, calls us or inquires online and go give them a really good consultation and turn that into a listing opportunity, right? So we want to make sure you guys are armed with the skills necessary to get this stuff done. Let's see. So let me roll into this presentation. All right. So just a couple things. Seller script workshop today, guys. Why do seller leads matter, right? Why do you guys think it's important to start working with sellers? A lot of us are doing buyers, right, which is great, but why is it important to work with sellers as well?
That's how you maintain your business.
It's how you maintain your business. Tell me more about that. What do you mean?
List to live is what I was taught. And there's only so many hours in the day that you can drive people around show homes.
Yeah.
Once you get a listing set up, it's automatic. There's less, it's less time intensive. Once you get the listing going,
yeah,
you can list 100 homes. You can't drive 100 people around in a week.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So what you're describing there is leverage, right?
Yeah.
So listings are higher leverage. The reason why is a lot of the work is done up front in getting that client to sign with you and list with you. But then because we have a whole operations team built in, our admin team, all our vendors, all those different people who make the listing happen, you get to pass it over and that listing gets to keep moving forward while you go out there and get more business, right? So from a leverage standpoint, it allows you to do more in the same amount of time, right? Now, it is competitive to get listings, right? So there's pros and cons, right? So when people say list to last or list to live, right? That's an old saying that was probably brought on by Mike Ferry or whatever coaches that are all listing dominant. Yeah, my stance is, yeah, you definitely want to get to a point in your business where you are taking listings. Now, listings do require a different skill set, right? Simply because someone is hiring you and paying you a commission to negotiate on their behalf, right? And manage their multi-million-dollar asset. Whereas with buyers, a lot of it is more just if they feel comfortable with you, the home is doing a lot of the selling for that transaction, right? They see the right home. You don't necessarily have to be the best agent out there as long as you're knowledgeable, you're competent, you guys have a good relationship. But if they see the home they like, they're highly motivated to just, hey, let's write an offer. Would you guys agree? Right? Finding the home is the challenge. With the listing, they're interviewing you to see if you're the person that I should hire to go to bat for me, right? It's like when you're going to go hire an attorney to go fight your case in court, right? Now I'm saying, well, what can you do for me, right? Why should I pay you your fee that you're charging to go represent me, right? So it's a different skill set, right? You need to have more confidence. You need to have project management skills. You need to know how to set the right expectations. You need to know how to negotiate your commission, right? Which we are learning that a lot now that the commission structure has changed with the NAR stuff. We are having to go out there and justify our commission. So I actually like the changes with the NAR, where you guys, even with buyers, you got to justify your commission because that translates well into becoming a good listing agent, right? I know I'm rambling a bit, but I want you guys to understand overall why it's important for you to get listings, right? You want to have a balanced business as well. If you look at today's market, some listings are sitting on the market a little bit, right? Like it is taking a little bit longer to sell. But a couple years ago or a year or two ago, you got a listing, it was sold in 1 week. So you did all the work to get that listing, you put it on the market, 4 days later, you're in contract. It could be a quick turnaround. So you want to have both, in my opinion, because as the market shifts and fluctuates, certain things will be more effective at certain times, right? My question to you guys, on a scale of 1 to 10, when speaking with seller leads, how confident are you? Just really quick. Those of you guys at home, put it in the chat or unmute yourself. And those of you guys here, just throw out a number. 1 to 10, speaking with the seller lead. 8, 4, 6, 4, 3, 7, 7, 8, 2. At home, Blanca, Shri, how confident are you guys on a scale of 1 to 10, speaking with a seller lead?
9.
9, okay. Shri, who else I got? Vikas, we got a few people.
7 for me, because
7. Okay, everyone, if you can unmute yourself, or if you can't unmute yourself, just write it in the chat. And if you're able to turn your camera on, please turn your camera on, guys, so I can see you. Okay, so 7. Okay, so would you say there's definitely some room for improvement? Right? If you're at a 7, we got to get you to an 8. If you're at a 2, we got to get you to a 5 first, right? But here's the deal is, as long as you can get to like a 7 or 8 on a scale of 1 to 10, you are ready to go out there and take listings and book appointments, right? So don't think that, hey, I can only like start working on listings or even start working on that skill until I feel like a 10, right? Or I could only go on a listing appointment until I feel like a 10. That's just not the case, right? Like, how do you become a 10 if you're a 7? Exposure, repetition, practice, and quite frankly, messing a lot of shit up and learning from it, right? So that you can get better. Like, I didn't get good at listings until I went on like 100 listing appointments, and I butchered a lot of them. But every single appointment that I went on, I came back with a little piece of knowledge and data and feedback, and I would tweak what I was doing. So remember, if you want to get really, really good at listings, you have to have that student mindset and learn from every single experience that you have and make sure you're making adjustments, right? The people who go out there and butcher it or don't win a listing and then come back and don't adjust, those are the people that I'm scared of, I'm worried about, right? But the people who go out there and like, oh shit, I screwed that up. Okay, well, why did I screw that up? Well, wait, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. Now, next time I go out, I'm going to change it a little bit, right? Those are the people who win, right? Because you're constantly improving, even if it's like 1% each time, right? You guys follow me?
Let me add something to you.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would add is that the great thing about our system is that we have a built out presentation for you guys to follow, right? And then you just got to stand behind it, put your charisma, put your character behind it. The other thing too is making sure that, again, making sure you're practicing it. But, we talk about this for our buyers, when we're listening to your guys' call, you guys get that body of work when you go out there and you make those attempts on those listing presentations. And that's what Enrique is talking about, having that body of work so that you can come back and critique yourself and really unpack like, hey, did I do this well? Where can I improve at? Right. So creating that body of work, a lot of us have created that body of work on the buyer side. Now we got to start focusing on creating that body of work on the seller side.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to shout out Mark. Mark's here right now. Just seeing his progress, guys, and his, he put in the work, right? Like, Mark, I was thinking about you earlier, brother, because we went on that appointment yesterday. And I just want to let you know, bro, I'm extremely proud of you, bro. Like, just to see the progress that you've made with our team, because there was a point in time when you were just grinding and weren't really seeing anything in return. Do you remember that? Right. And he was like, man, I might have to get a job or something, right? Like, I remember he said that I might have to go back to the gym part-time or something if I don't start closing some deals. But he stuck with it, right? And he's here at all the trainings, he's here at all the classes, he asks all the questions, he's in the seller presentation training that we do. He actually put himself out there and did the role play in front of everyone, even though it wasn't perfect, right? He practiced it at home. And you've already taken how many listings on your own? 2. He's taken 2 listings on his own, right? Was it perfect? No. Did you learn something on each one?
Yeah, and you yesterday after I already signed the listing, but then you added, I got to see how you kind of sold it with a client. So
Yeah.
So from that, and saw what I did, and I can just give you my method.
Absolutely, man. And you just got a buyer in contract today? Let's go, man. Let's give it up for Mark, guys, right? But guys, like, all of that stuff comes into play, right? Getting buyers in contract gives you confidence. Going out there and doing listing appointments gives you confidence, so that when you meet with any sort of client, buyer or seller, you can bring that level of confidence to the table. So that's the other thing too, is a big part of this, like I said earlier, is the confidence, right? Like I asked, what's your current confidence? It's having that confidence where you could speak to someone and say, hey, this is what I recommend. Hey, this is why you shouldn't do that. Hey, in my experience, this is what works better. Hey, that's a great question. Let me consult you. This is what my advice that I'm going to give you, right? We had the seller yesterday, like telling us all these things he wanted to do to the property. And what did I do in those situations, Mark, yesterday?
It's great to learn that I wouldn't worry about that. That's not necessary. Like buyers, you basically kind of like steered him back in
Yeah.
that direction.
Yeah, in a nice way, I shut that shit down, basically. Right? Like I'm just gonna keep it frank with you guys because I can, right? But in a tactful way, right? Hey, I forgot the seller's name, Brian. Hey, Brian, I know you want to add this little light out here and do all this stuff, but to be honest, like I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't spend my time doing that. The buyer, that's a great custom touch if you're going to continue to live in the property, but you're selling this. We got to just get this place market ready and just hurry up and get it out there, right? Oh, okay. You know, and then like, but some people who aren't confident would be scared to have that conversation or to tell them up front, you shouldn't do that, right? And so because I'm confident and he kind of sees how I'm talking, now that establishes more credibility, right? There's conviction in my voice. So now he believes me when I'm telling him do this or don't do that, right? And so the confidence, guys, is really key. And the only way you get confident is to do this a lot, do it over and over, right? I'm spending time on this, guys, because I think I need to drill this part in your head, because anything else I teach you, it doesn't really matter if you don't understand this, right? Biggest challenge you face with seller conversation. What's the biggest challenge you guys are facing? Maybe just go around the room. I'm sorry? You haven't had any opportunity, right? Haven't had any at-bats. Biggest challenge you're facing right now.
I think not being familiar to where I'm not confident.
Okay, so not being familiar enough, is it with the process or the script or the, okay. So let me challenge you right now. You've sold several homes with buyers, right? So what is it about the process of getting a home sold that you don't understand?
I guess just making sure that I'm getting the clients most return on their investment. They're pricing it correctly and like looking at things from that point of view versus just the buyers.
Okay, so I think you know it. I just think you're not confident yet, right? Because I'm gonna quiz you really quick, right? In one sentence or in just a couple points, what are the most important keys to getting a home sold for top dollar?
Most important keys are getting it prepared,
Getting it prepared,
making sure it looks good,
making sure it looks good,
and that it's
making sure it's marketed. What about pricing? Making sure it's priced right. That's it, bro. That's all you need to know, right? And then you can expand on all of that stuff. But you basically know, like what it takes to get a home for sale. You just haven't necessarily done it, right? But that's really what it is, right? And that's why when we go through our presentation, the 4 steps in our presentation is preparation, pricing, negotiations, right? Marketing. It's just those 4 things. That's really what it is, right? So preparation, right? If you wanted to prep a home for sale, like what are the main things you would focus on?
getting
Like what should look good? When I walk into a home, what should, like really quick, what should look good? But point, what's some things out?
let's see the walls, the floors, the windows.
What do buyers look at? When you take a buyer to see a home, what are they looking for? Like what are like the top 3 or 4 things that they call their attention? But specifically in the property, like is it paint, carpet? What is it?
I would say the big factor.
What is it?
Making sure it's not cluttered.
Okay.
So I'm putting you on the spot, but I'm putting you on the spot for a reason, because what I want you guys to know is if you've worked with buyers already, you guys know all this shit. It's already built in, right? You just need to switch your lens around and say, okay, well, from a seller's perspective, now how do I know it, right? What do buyers look for? When I take buyers to look for homes, the first thing we're looking at is how does it show? Is it cluttered? How's the paint? How's the carpet? How's the landscape? What's the overall condition of the home? That's it right there, right? Yeah, kitchens, bathrooms, like those are the things your buyers are asking. So it's great that you've done buyers because now you get to use that when you're talking to sellers, right? You had something down.
Say kitchen and floors.
I mean, think about it for you. If you were buying a home,
The neighborhood, the street.
right, what would be important to you guys, right? So a lot of these things, like when you think about it, like if you were to sit down and just write it and think it through, you have it in you already, right? It's just being able to put it together in a compelling presentation is the key, right? What else, guys? What other challenges do you guys face with seller conversations? Any other challenges you guys are facing right now?
I think for me was like the client that you and I met with is like once it becomes like a sell to buy situation and there's like lots of other factors involved like capital gains and net sheets and making sure you're advising them properly on what's the smartest move.
Yeah, so more complex situations, right? More complex situations where they're selling, they got to buy, they got to put a contingent offer. Like some of those are a little bit more complex. But here's the thing is those don't happen all the time, right? And you have your team to lean on, right? Just like I've been coaching you and even help step in is you have all that, right? So what I don't want you guys to do is not go out there and try to get listings because you don't know all these little complex details. Remember, those will come with just doing more transactions, right?
And I think even at times, I mean, we have questions, even if we're experienced, I still, on the finance side, I still have questions.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it for 20 years. So there's different scenarios that you're not gonna have the answer to, but there's techniques of how to answer that question. Letting them know, hey, look, that's a great question. Let's go ahead, we'll figure this out together. I'm gonna go ahead and get my financial consultant on the line to see how we can avoid capital gains, right? So
Yeah.
remember, there's also techniques behind it that you'll learn throughout this process that you can utilize.
Yeah, that just like you said, right? Knowing where to go find the answer is key. So even if you go out there and don't know the answer, you can still be confident in that, hey, I have a team that I can go to. You can say, hey, Mr. Seller, like that's a great question. I want to make sure I give you the best advice. I'm going to consult with my team and I'll go ahead and answer that. Let me write that one down. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next step in the process, right? And I'll make sure we get that answered for you, by tomorrow. But you see, like I can answer that. I basically am being confident that I don't know the answer, right? That's a technique, right? But if I was, right? It's competency because should we know every single answer? No, right? Like every situation is unique. Things change, laws change, market conditions change. So what I'm trying to say is you don't need to know 100% of the answers. I don't know 100% of the answers, guys. I know like 99% of them because I've done it so many times. But every time I do something, I learn something, right? So that's just the thing you got to have, right? Is don't let these things stop you from like going and putting yourself out there and not even entering the arena, right? Some of us are not even entering the arena because we're like, well, I don't know all these other things, so I'm not even going to go step on the field and play, right? Go step on the field and play. Go mess it up, right? It's hard to mess it up, right? You get in a situation, just say, hey, great question. Let me get that answer for you, right? Okay. Stop me, guys, if you have questions. Okay, the seller script, the SQS script. We've gone over this before. I will print some of these out for you guys as well. But I want to keep it really basic. Yeah, I'll print some of these out. How many people we got? 2, 4, 6, 8. About 10 of them. Because you guys are going to use these in a bit when you role play. Okay, guys, seller SQS script. This is like the LP Mama, right? We all learn the LP Mama for buyers if you guys have been working with us for buyers. The most important part, like we've said in the past, is knowing like this part right here, the value that you can bring a seller. Remember, in this situation, we're referring to leads that come in. How do you call that lead and book an appointment, right? So now you can go out there and deliver a listing presentation. So we're in the appointment setting phase, right? If I give you a Zillow lead or a lead from one of my ISAs or anything like that, can you at least get through this part and set that appointment up, right? That's really what we're focusing on today. So in order to do that, guys, you need to kind of know the framework and you need to understand the value that we can bring to the table. Because when you know the value and it's really ingrained in you, it doesn't really matter what order you go in, like all that stuff. Sometimes the conversation just flows naturally in certain orders, but you need to be able to say, hey, this is why we should meet. This is why we should book an appointment, right? Antonio, what's that first value bullet point right there? What's the value that we would bring to a seller when we meet with them for an appointment? Yeah. understanding your goals and what's important to you, right? Hey, when we come out there, we're going to go through your goals, figure out what's important, right? And be able to come up with a plan for you, right? The second bullet point, Tanya, on the value to seller. Okay, yeah, right. So when I come out there to meet you, Mr. Seller, we'll be able to walk the property. I can take a look at it. I can give you some honest feedback on what you need to do to get your home ready for sale. Is that valuable? If someone's thinking of selling their home, would it be valuable to have a professional walk their home and give them some ideas on like, hey, this is what we should do to prepare, right? So that's valuable, right? The third bullet point, Carmen, what do we got there?
You have market conditions, recent sales, and what your home can sell for.
Right? Is that valuable to a seller, right? Who's thinking of selling? Hey, we're going to talk about the market. We're going to go over the recent sales and we're going to give you an idea of what the home could sell for, right? The last one, Mark, what's that last one there?
Discuss all your options for selling and see what makes the most sense for your goals.
Yeah. So we're going to go over all your options for selling, right? There's different ways to get your home sold. We're going to go through all the options. We're going to see what makes the most sense for your goals, right? And so all of this stuff right here, guys, is probably the main part of this script framework, right? It's just knowing that this is the value that you bring to the table, because everything kind of revolves around that. All the other stuff is just more gathering information, right? Motivation and timing, hey, when do you guys plan to sell? How soon do you want to get your home sold? Basically, what I want to know is like, how quick do you want to make this happen, right? You looking now or thinking in the future? Where are you guys at in terms of timeline, right? That's an easy question to ask, right? Ask me that question, Antonio, in your own words.
So why are you choosing to sell this place?
Well, I want to move out of state.
What was there a specific timeline you want to move?
Yeah, in 6 months. Okay, boom. Right? That was easy, right? Like, it doesn't have to be exactly the way I wrote it, but basically you just need to know motivation and timing, right? Why are you selling? What made you decide you want to sell? When do you plan to go, right? Because then from there, it's like the doctor. When you go to the doctor, they ask you questions so that they can prescribe something, right? Tell me your symptoms. A symptom is like, hey, I want to sell in 6 months. Or a symptom is like, I got to sell in 30 days. Okay, well then I need to give you some more aggressive medicine, right? Or I need to come out there, right? Can you meet today? Because 30 days is pretty soon, right? 6 months. Okay, well, hey, it looks like you're in the early stages, but we should definitely meet because we got to plan this thing out because 6 months could come really fast, right? Hey, you're 12 months out. Hey, you're a little further out, but we can at least give you an idea of what you should start doing so that in 12 months you're prepared to sell. You see how like aggressive, a little less aggressive, very, very passive, right? So when you're speaking to a seller, just knowing their motivation and timing, right? What's the plan when you sell, right? Do we know what's going to happen after you sell this property? Why, are you buying another house? Like, tell me about your plan. You could even say that. Hey, just tell me about the plan, right? What's the plan? And if you just say that and shut up, then they're going to talk, right? Well, we want.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Like, what's the plan?
Yeah, just curious. What are you guys thinking, right? What made you reach out to us? What's the plan that you have with your home? Like, that's a very just open-ended question where you just get them to talk. Not a big deal. But what you're doing is you're trying to, like, in your mind, you're trying to piece the puzzle together, right? Hey, they want to sell, they want to buy something else, they want to move this time. Right now, you're trying to piece the scenario together, but you're just gathering information, right? Condition of the property. Hey, can you tell me a little bit about your home, right? How's the condition? Have you guys done any upgrades, or is there anything that you think needs attention? So ask it in your own words, but just basically find out a basic condition of the property. Mortgage. Hey, do you guys still owe anything on the property? Right? Sometimes people get scared. Well, I don't want, that's personal information. It's like, well, it depends how you ask it, right? So how would you ask it to me, John?
You own the home free and clear, you still owe it.
There you go. So say he said in his own words, right? That's better than what I would have said, right? Hey, do you own the home free and clear, or you still owe on it, right? Right. So, right, how would you ask it, Adrian? There you go. How would you ask it, Dan? You see, 3 different ways, all 3 work, right? Really good. By the way, how much you own the property, right? Do you guys still owe anything on the property? But all 3 of them did it in a cool, laid back. Yeah. We didn't go like, hey, Antonio, so what's your balance on the mortgage of the house? They're like, whoa, relax. Are you a creditor or something? Like, right? Zyla, you raised your hand. Talk to me.
I couldn't hear what the 3 answers they got.
Okay, so I'm gonna imitate John. Let me see. Do you own the house free and clear, or there's still a mortgage on it? Something like that, right? What did you say, Adrian, again?
Is there still a mortgage on
Is there still a mortgage on the property? That's what Adrian said. And then Dan said, by the way, do you still own anything on the house? Something like that, right? More or less.
Thank you.
So basically just asking in a, nonchalant, that the biggest thing is nonchalant, right? Like just keep it real cool, calm, not a big deal. Hey, by the way, you guys still own anything on the property. That's when you ask it like that, 90% of the time, they're just going to, oh yeah, we owe like about 400,000. Oh no, it's paid off. Oh, okay, great. Right? Like move on to the next one, right? The value of the home. How much do you think your home is worth? You guys have any idea? Like, so you can say that in different ways, right? You guys have any idea of what you want to sell for? But basically you're really thinking like, what do they think their home is worth? Hey, have you guys checked your home value? Have you guys went online? Or what do you think your home's worth? That you have a number in mind. That's a great way to ask it, right? Hey, you guys have a number in mind for your home? All right. Really cool, really calm, collect. Decision makers. Hey, is it just you on the property? Like, how would you ask that, decision makers?
Is it just you and your wife, or does someone co-sign for you, or someone else on? Just it depends on the call. If I'm on the call with one person, you're gonna say, are you on the title by yourself?
Yeah. Are you on the title by yourself? Is there any other decision maker, right, involved? Right? Hey, is your spouse or anybody on the property, right? Like you keep it neutral, nowadays, right? Hey, is there anybody else as a decision maker? That's what I would ask, right? Or sometimes you might hear the wife in the background, or you might hear somebody else, right? Hey, is there anybody? Is that the missus in the background, right? Is anybody else on the property with you that, how do they feel about selling? I always like to know how other people feel. Sometimes they'll voluntarily tell you, but what you're looking for is like potential hurdles, right? Yeah. Anybody else need to sign on? Is there anybody else that needs to be present, in this decision? So ask it however you want it, but just keep it really nice and light and easy. And then the appointment, right? So, hey, there's different ways to ask for the appointment, right? This is just the general way. Hey, based on all the info, I'd love to come by your house, go over the options, right? We can walk the property, discuss the best strategy for selling your home. Hey, what's a good time to come by this week, right? Or you can give 2 options. Hey, I have Tuesday or Wednesday, right? Or mornings or afternoons work better for you. The key here, though, is to just, hey, let's summarize this whole thing up. I'd love to come by. You can reiterate some of the value proposition up here. I'd love to come by because I'll be able to take a look at the property, give you some honest feedback on what you should do to the home. You see, I'm going back to these 4 points up here, right? And we can go over all your options and see what makes the most sense for your guys' goals, right? And then you want to lead into the appointment, right? Hey, the mornings or afternoons typically work better for you, right? Or what's a good time this week? However you want to ask that, but you always want to go to appointment. You don't just say, hey, I'd love to come by the house and just stay quiet, right? You need to say, I'd love to come by the house because of ABC, because of XYZ, and then immediately go into trying to nail down an appointment time, right? So who can run through that with me really quick? Just that little script, that little last part, the appointment part. Go, Dan.
So Enrique, I pretty much have all the information I need. It looks pretty good. When's a good time for us to meet?
There you go, right? You available on Saturday? All right, there you go. John, run that by me. Just the last part, the point, just set the appointment.
Well, Enrique, I'd like to come take a look at the house, walk it with you, give you my insights. When's a good time for us to meet?
There you go. Right? Carmen, throw that at me.
Um, I would like to, let's see, say it again.
Just that last part, the appointment part, right?
Oh, okay,
Just,
okay.
you're just basically just summarizing, right? It's-
Trying to just get an appointment.
Just get the appointment, right? And you can say it in your own words, however naturally comes to you.
When's a good time to meet to go over your options? Or
Yeah. Something like that, right? I'm putting you on the spot, but what I want you to show you is like you've been here for like half an hour and you're already set an appointment, right? That's what I want to show you guys. Tanya, how would you say it?
Based on all the information I got today, I would like to set a time to go meet you at the property and take a look at it, once at a time.
There you go. Cole, talk to me, bro.
Or based on all the information we talked about, can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
Sticking,
Hello, come on in.
we could stop by the property, maybe sometime tomorrow, and, while we're there, we can go over the plan of how I get, my clients and, homes, sold for top dollar, and then you can decide if working together makes sense or not.
Okay. That's one way to say it. My coaching to you is just simplify the hell out of that, right? That sounds too much like a sales pitch. And so that's what we want to make it just not a big deal, right? Because you mentioned top dollar, you mentioned all these things. Remember, like if you've already gone through this call and you're already down to the end, there's no need to like upsell this whole thing, right? So I would just really like shorten that to like 2 sentences or 1 sentence. Hey, based off everything you told me, I'd love to come by the property, check it out, and go over all your options, right? When's a good time for me to come by, right? Try that one more time, but say it super simple like that.
Based on all the information, we talked, it sounds like it could be a good match. What's a good time that we could walk the property and we could discuss possibly working together in the future?
There you go, right? Love it. Lot shorter. I know I'm putting you on the spot, brother, so, right? But that was, would you guys agree? That was way better, right? More condensed, more, straight to the point, not a big deal, right? And see, it's repetition, right? The more you do this, it's just going to come off naturally.
And I think the big thing for this, guys, is remember, this is just like the structure of it, right?
Framework, that's it.
Yeah. But what you want to do is you want to have a conversation with someone, right? And then while you're having that conversation, you're just checking this off. And the conversation's going to flow. It's not going to flow down the line. It's going to kind of bounce around a little bit.
Yeah.
So just remember that you're just having a conversation. And this is at the end of the conversation, these are the things you want to accomplish. These are the things that you want to unpack with that client.
Yeah, because sometimes when you just open up the call and you say like, hey, what prompted you to reach out? They might tell you a bunch of stuff that checks off like 5 of those points already. And so if that's the case, you could just already skip to appointment, right? Your job is just to understand these bullet points, right? Motivation, plan, condition. But if they gave that all to you, like some clients are just talkers and they told you their whole life story and you're just listening. And you're like, okay, motivation, value, decision make, right? And then maybe you missed like 1 or 2. And then, so you ask those questions and you say, hey, great. Like based off all that, when's a good time for me to come by the house? All right. So I want to teach you guys that less is more, simple is better. Act like you're talking to a friend, a cousin, an uncle, or a brother, because when you keep it really nice and polite and casual, people's guard goes down. They don't feel like you're trying to sell them anything. They feel like you're just a human to human connecting, right?
Like I feel like it's a seller or a buyer, they get nervous too.
Oh, yeah.
On guard, you want to feel comfortable.
Exactly.
When you say, like, try to make it a businessy, like with your words, then it gets like, oh, maybe they can pull out.
Exactly, right? When it's too businessy or too salesy, you can start introducing thoughts that maybe they didn't even have, right? So keeping them comfortable and just, low guard is best, right? Dan?
I think just by going through the script with the potential seller, just by going through it, their guard goes down already, and there's like a comfortability level between you and the seller.
Yep.
You can easily ask these questions casually.
Absolutely. 100%. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to listen to a call. So Rob actually has a call on here. Just let me.
And that's what I'd encourage you guys to listen to your own calls, right? Since you're on call, you'll be able to kind of participate in that.
So we got this client here. And this was a Zillow call that came in 2 days ago, and Rob set the appointment. So what I want you guys, it's a 5-minute call, right? What I want you guys to take away is tonality, not a big deal. Did he get a more or less understanding of the different points? It's not going to be exactly as I showed you guys, but he hit most of the points there. And then he just went in for the appointment, right? Which is what you want to do. Those of you guys at home, give me a thumbs up if you can hear.
Hello, Jim.
Yes.
How are you, sir? This is Robert. I'm a Zillow Premier agent. I appreciate you giving me a call back.
Great.
Listen, Jim, I got a notification earlier today that you had some thoughts about possibly making a move, and wanted me to reach out to you to see if there was any questions that you folks may have and see if I can help out.
Yeah, we're thinking of downsizing. It's a pretty big house for an old couple, retired.
Okay.
So I know. Well, anyway, yeah. So that's the background. It's
Okay.
nothing.
Well, let me ask you this, Jim. As far as the house, I have 1048 Homestead Road. Is that right? Is that accurate?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And is this is an actual house here that we're speaking about, right? Because I'm trying to find it online and I don't see it. So maybe you can help me out.
1048 West Homestead.
West Homestead. Okay.
If you put in just Homestead, it'll go down into Santa Clara.
That makes sense. Okay. So now
We're situated right across the street. We're on Homestead, right across the street from Cupertino Middle School, and one house away from the on-ramp to 85.
Okay, I see you now. I see you. Okay, so I'm yeah, for whatever reason it did that. So let me pull up your right place really quick. Okay. When were you folks looking to make this move? Is this something that you're looking to do now or in the future?
It was sometime this year.
Okay. Well, here's what I would recommend. It's just from this quick conversation, it sounds like you folks are in the early stages. Usually the first step is folks like to take a look at the numbers first, right? They want to make sure that whatever they're going to get at the end is going to make sense for them to take that next step over, right? So that's probably what I would recommend for us to kind of look over. How much is owed on the house, if I may ask?
None. It's paid off.
It's paid off. Okay. And then have you thought about where you plan on going to next if
No.
you do decide to go down? Okay, so you're really early on.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me do this, Jim. Let me go ahead and kind of put together the numbers. What I'll do is I'll send it over to you. These are just prelim numbers for us to kind of go over. I'd like to take a look at the property, which is going to usually at this stage, I usually give ranges, but I should be able to narrow those ranges down depending on the condition of the property. Would it be crazy of me to ask to be invited over to your place sometime this week?
Sure.
Okay.
Tomorrow probably is a good day. Just bear in mind that, I see flyers in the mail daily, almost daily, from real estate agents in our area, and I know what, unless they're lying on their flyers, I know what what things are going for in this zip code.
Okay. Do you have a number in mind?
Anything less than, anything less than what the market rates are going is, I'm probably not going to entertain it.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, Jim, I'm in the business of trying to make you money. So yeah, no. We definitely don't want to go under any sort of marks, right? At the end of the day, the data is really it's black and white on our end. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at the data itself. I'm gonna kind of give you a range. I'm gonna go in with the intentions of a range, and then once I take a look at the house, I should be able to narrow that number down. I'm pretty good with my numbers, where I'm probably anywhere from about like 25,000 plus or minus. So I'm pretty tight when it comes to my numbers, but that only happens once I see the property. right?
Okay.
I'll go ahead and leave that with you, and then at that point, you can have a conversation with the missus and see if it's something that you folks want to take the next step, and we can have a conversation at that point regarding that. Is that fair?
Okay. Sure.
Okay. I have tomorrow available at 1:30. Do you mind if I pencil you in at that time and meet you at your house?
1:30?
Yes.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
Okay. Okay. So what's going to happen right now, Jim? And I'm sorry. What's your wife's name, if I may ask?
Maylee.
May Lee. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just send you my contact information, just so you know who you've been speaking with. I've been in real estate now for 20 years. Sold hundreds of homes, especially in that area. So I know exactly. I can give you a quick pulse of the market of what's happening tomorrow. But we can have a further discussion tomorrow once I take a look at the place. And if anything pops up, feel free to let me know.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Any questions you have for me, Jim, before I let you go?
No, that's it. Thanks.
All right. I appreciate you, sir. Have a great one. All right. Bye now.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. So what I want to get at, right, is the points. Did we hit the points in that call, right? Because I want to, what you guys saw is that it wasn't exactly in order, but most of the points were pretty much hit, right? Motivation and timing. What was the motivation and timing for this guy? Downsizing, right? Is what he said early. And what was the timing? This year, which could, a little further out. What was the plan? Does he know if he's buying another home? Okay, so that's still kind of open, right? Condition of the property. We didn't talk much about the condition, but Rob did say, hey, when I come out there, we'll take a look at the condition, right? Just fine. Mortgage. Do they owe anything on the home? No. Rob tried to ask him if he had a number in mind, but he didn't say. He just said he didn't want to sell for less than the market, right? Decision makers. Did we know if there's a decision maker? Yes. The wife's in the background talking, right? So by default, we knew the wife was in the background, right? And did he book the appointment? Right? Okay. Now, value proposition. Could be one or all of these. Did he mention in some sort of way, like, hey, we're going to go understand your goals, or hey, we're going to walk your property, or hey, we're going to give you an overview of the market, or hey, we're going to discuss your options? He's mentioned walk the property, right? What else?
Overview. I mean, because the guy kind of brought up other homes in the market and
Yeah.
Bring out numbers.
Yeah. So Rob's going to bring out numbers, right? Kind of let you know what your home could sell for. And then he said something like, hey, we'll get you a good pulse on the market once I come out there, right? So he hit probably 3 of those, right?
Like when Rob came in and said, I'm going to come in with a range. But
Yeah.
when I see it, we'll have a double number.
Yeah. Now here's where I would critique Rob, right? Is reading the room. Was Jim of a lot of words or few words? Was Rob of a lot of words or few words? A lot. Okay. So I think, huh? Yeah, but sometimes you want to mirror and match, right? Because a man of a few words, he seemed like an older guy, man of a few words, and someone that's talking a lot, sometimes that could rub them the wrong way. Like you're too salesy, right? So in my experience, you want to try to mirror and match, right? If the guy's talking slower and saying less words, then simplify and slow down a little bit, right? Sometimes we don't realize that because we're nervous. Like, we got the call, we answered. Hello? Hey, right? Oh, you want to sell? Right? We're all like, we're caught off guard. But he got the appointment, which was great, right? But if I had to critique this call and even give Rob some feedback, Rob's a very experienced agent, is sometimes we get stuck in our own way. And so I would have slowed that call down and I would have just simplified. I wouldn't have gave like too much detail on like the range within 25,000. Like to me, that was extra words that didn't necessarily help the conversation. It could have backfired if that call went a different way. Right? So I would just simplify it a little bit. That's more of the roundabout, right? But he hit all the points. He hit most of the value proposition. Solid call, right? Booked the appointment, and now his foot's in the door. And it's a house in Sunnyvale, which is probably worth a couple million or more, right? From an incoming lead from Zillow. Who would like to have those opportunities? All day, right? Okay.
then, Enrique?
I'm not sure yet. Okay, common objections that we're gonna get. And how do we answer these? We're just curious right now. Hey, right? What do you say when someone's just curious? So remember, they went online, they said, hey, call me, I'm looking to sell my home. Then you talk to them, they said, I'm just curious. Yeah, so how would you answer that?
Well, you ask them what's prompting the curiosity.
Right? So what you're just doing is saying, just tell me more about what you're curious about, right? That's basically what you're saying. Oh yeah, we were just curious. Hey, not a problem. Most people are just curious. Tell me a little bit more. What were you guys thinking? Right? Because when someone says just curious, if you don't ask more questions or peel the onion back more, you won't really know what to recommend or how to position that call, right? So when someone says they're just curious, hey, no problem. Like agree with them, be agreeable. Tell me more, right? That usually gets them to open up. So now you can see, okay, which way do we have to take this call, right? Very simple. We're just curious. Oh, hey, totally understand. Tell me more. What were you guys thinking? What prompted your curiosity, right? We're not ready to sell yet. Was this guy right now ready to sell? Okay. So what did Rob do when he kind of said he was, within the next year? How did Rob position that call? How did Rob address the point where the guy said, like, when he asked about timing, the guy's like, well, sometime this year.
Rob was like, oh, so we're in the really early stages.
Yeah. So that was the key thing right there, right? Is the guy said, basically in a roundabout way, he said, we're not ready right now. He said, like, sometime in the year. So Rob just acknowledged that and agreed with, oh, okay, so it looks like you guys are in the very early stages. Hey, not a problem, right? Let's get you some information, right? That's basically what he said, right? So just because someone says we're not ready yet, that doesn't mean you can't meet with them. That doesn't mean that's a knockout punch, right? Just agree with them. Oh, hey, totally understand, right? Selling's a long process, right? A lot of people I talk to are not ready to sell right now, but they want to get the info so that they can plan this thing out, right? And so we'll be able to go over that once I come to the house. Right? So the mistake people make, oh, you're not ready yet, and then they start like trying to battle this. Well, you should sell right now is a great time to sell, right? Like, have you seen the market and all this? And now you're trying to convince them to sell, which you can't convince someone to sell, right? They have to convince themselves, right?
Or they do the opposite. They push back, like they find reasons why not to meet with them right now.
Exactly.
That's
Right.
something about that list.
Now, let me ask you this. Would you rather let me ask you this. Would you rather be interviewed by a seller right when they're ready to sell or in the early stages while they're thinking about getting ready to sell? Why? Early. A lot of you guys said early. Why?
As a relationship and like comfortability, trust, respect.
Yeah.
Well, if you try to get at them, when they're ready to sell, there's gonna be tons of competition, and all they're gonna look at is commission.
There you go. Right. So you guys both kind of pointed it out, right? You want to catch sellers early because when you catch them early, it gives you a chance to build a relationship with them over time. And when you build that strong relationship and deliver a lot of value up front, they tend to go with the person who's been helping them the whole time, right? Versus if you get the lead today, especially an online lead, and they're looking to interview 5 agents this week because they want to list next week. Now that's you're like a 1 out of 5 right there. You got to show value. Not even that. A lot of times it comes down to commission, right? Now you're competing with 5 other agents that are in their ear, telling them why they're the best, why you suck, all these different things, right? It's harder to win that listing. Right? So we have a way better shot of winning a listing by catching people earlier in the planning stages versus right when they're ready to pull the trigger. So when someone says we're not ready yet, you actually should be like, it's better for you to go out there and help them plan this thing out, right? So that you're with them through every step of the process. They're going to be more loyal to you. Do you guys see that? Right? So, okay. What's your commission? Hey, so if Jim said, well, so what do you guys charge? What's your commission? How do you answer that question?
Great question. I'm not trying to be evasive, but it depends. And that's something we'll go over when we meet, depending on what level of service and what package you want.
Yeah. Okay. How else? How would That's a great answer. How else would you answer it? Those of you guys at home, feel free to unmute yourself. What's your commission? How do you answer that?
Standard is 2.5, but depending on the level of service or your needs, it may vary.
Okay. So John's answer was it depends. Tanya's answer was my standard is this, and then depends after. What was Dan's answer?
I'd say there's different tiers of service, and we can go over that when it's time.
Okay. So the correct way, in my experience, is you never want to give a commission over the phone. Because that's one of the ways that you can disqualify yourself. There's two ways to disqualify yourself from even being invited to the appointment. It's by giving fees over the phone and by telling them what their home is worth over the phone. Because if they don't agree with your fee or they don't agree with the price you said, why would they want to talk to you further? Right?
You have to show the value.
Exactly, right? Now, once you've met with them, once you build rapport, once you build credibility, once you show them data, now you've already have the permission to say, hey, this is what I think your home could sell for, or these are the different services we offer. These are the different commission packages. By that point, you've already talked to them, met with them, walked the property, sat down with them. Now you're face to face. Now you have a chance to actually get them to move forward. So you never want to give fees over the phone. What's your question?
What happened in a scenario if like a client's like, no, I want to know how much my house is worth before you, like it's a.
Yeah, and you can do that two ways, right? They can, if you're being difficult, right? If the client's being difficult, like, no, Enrique, you can't go over. I want to know what your commission is.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the two ways. Or tell me what my property's worth.
Okay, so there's two different questions. You want to do the commission one first?
Yeah, do both.
Hey, so yeah, what the commission is. Hey, that's a great question. And it sounds to me like the financial part of the deal is really important to you. And at the end of the day, you want to walk away with the most money. Am I correct, Adrian?
Yes.
Okay. So the great thing about us is we actually don't believe everybody fits in one box. We have customizable packages, ranging from a very, very low, commission to even some elevated services. And it really just depends what you need, right? So what I want to do is come out there and understand your goals, look at your property, and then we'll come to an agreement that makes sense for you. Is that fair? Okay, great. Are you available at, when's a good time for me to come by the property? You have Monday or Tuesday available?
Tuesday.
You see how now I just went back to like, I'm back on the bus and I'm going for appointment, right?
Shot of the way.
Yeah. Okay, great. Hey, I acknowledge you, right? I didn't like try to go past that. Hey, that's a great question. You want to know what my commission is, right? Sounds like that's important to you. Great. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend a lot of time going through the different commission options that we have. So I'm agreeing with you and I'm saying, hey, I'm going to make sure we really dive deep into the different options, right?
Then you go right back to stuff.
And then I go back to set the appointment, right?
Right back to the script.
Back to the script, right? So commission came up, shot that shit down, come back to the appointment, set the appointment, right? Okay, what's my home worth? Hey, if you don't tell me what my home's worth, you can't come over. Well, first of all, most people don't say that, right? So let's give realistic scenarios. Have you ever had someone say, if you don't tell me what my home's worth, I don't want to talk to you? Okay, so Jason likes doing these like scenarios, like to really quiz me. The commission one, people do come up, right?
The other one that Adrian came up with, I didn't agree with that one either.
But I've never really had someone like, hey, if you don't tell me, like, right?
The commission one, I've heard it on the calls. That's why I listened to the calls, so I did hear that.
Yeah, commission one does come up, right? How much is my home worth, though? They may ask you how much is their home worth, but very rarely, or probably not likely, they're going to say, if you don't tell me, you can't come over, right?
Yeah.
How much is hey, so how much do you think my home's worth, right? Hey, that's a great question, right? It sounds like knowing the value of your home and, trying to get top dollar is important to you, right? Yeah, that's right. Hey, any number I give you right now would purely just be a guess and an estimate, just like you can see on Redfin or Zillow. I don't think that'd be that valuable to you. What I like to do is actually walk your property and get an assessment of the home and the condition. This way I can give you a more precise, value on your home, right? But if you wanted to just know a range, like, Zillow and Redfin, this is what they say, right? Your house could be worth way more once I see it.
You even tell them that. You tell them, hey, look, I'm going to pull up on Redfin and Zillow right now.
Yeah.
You can tell them, hey, I pulled it up. This is what it's saying. But again, when I get out there, we can really dive deep and see what it's really true.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And this is why it's important for us to walk the property, because condition plays a role. And sometimes, you know, even the street that you're on plays a role, right? And so until I get eyes on the property, I would strictly be shooting in the dark, right? And I don't think you want that, right? So when's a good time for me to come by?
Right back to that.
Right back to, right? So objection came up, I acknowledged it, handled it gracefully, shot that shit down, go back to appointment, right? That's a technique, right? And that's where a lot of people get stuck on, is they just stay right there. And then and then other objections start coming up. They don't ever get back to book the appointment, right? That's where we go wrong. Okay. Have you sold any homes in my area? Sometimes that comes up, right? How would you handle that? Hey, so, you know, do you know this area? Have you sold any homes in this area?
I would say no, but my team has. No, my team has. That's what I'd say. I leverage the team.
We sold 800 homes over the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Bay Area, so I'd say.
Yeah. So remember, nobody on the phone is like, when they're talking to you, they don't have Zillow pulled up and they're looking at all your sales like, oh, wait a minute, 95111, right? Like, you're not an area expert, right? No one's doing that, right? So what you want to say is, yeah, right? Yes, right? Like, yeah, absolutely, right? We're actually one of the top teams here in the Bay Area. We've sold thousands of homes and we cover, you know, all over the Bay Area, right? And we even have buyers that come in every single month who may be interested in your property. So we're very familiar with the area, right? So when's a great time for me to come by and take a look at the property so we can, you know, go over your options? Back to it, right? But if you don't say that confidently, you're getting shot down, right? That's the key thing. Okay. Role play. I know we're going a little bit over right now. Who wants to come up here and role play? Let's do 5 minutes real quick and then we'll wrap up. Who wants to come up here and role play? Role play the script. So if you don't volunteer, I'm going to pick you, just FYI. So let's go, Tanya. Come on. Let's go. All right. 5 more minutes. Let's go, Tanya. No, come up here so people. Oh, yeah. Go over there. Go right there. Just sit right there so people can see you. I'm going to mute myself and then unmute. All right. So same scenario like the call we heard with Rob, right? Is 123 Main Street. You got a Zillow inquiry. Says I'm looking to sell my home. You're calling me, introducing yourself. Okay. You're trying to get the appointment, right? Perfect. And we're keeping this at 5 minutes. It's going more than 5 minutes. You're talking too much, right?
Okay.
All right. Ring this ring. Hello.
Hi, Enrique. My name is Tanya. I'm an agent with Zillow. How are you?
Good, good. How can I help you?
Hey, the reason why I'm calling is because I received an inquiry saying that you're interested in selling your property. So I wanted to see, just learn a little bit more about your inquiry.
Yeah, we're thinking of selling probably in the next 6 months or so. And you know, we went on Zillow and just kind of wanted to see what our options were and what we could sell for.
Great. Okay, perfect. I know you're wanting to sell within the next 6 months. Can I ask why you're deciding to sell?
Yeah, we're trying to retire. This house is just way too big for us old folks, and you know, kids are moved out. We got a 5-bedroom, 2-story. And me and my wife just want to retire and
Right.
probably downsize and, you know, put some money away.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. Well, I'm happy that you're thinking about the future in terms of saving some money. What about in terms of where you'll be relocating to? Have you guys thought about that?
We actually have a beach house that we bought a long time ago, so we'll probably stay there for a while and just kind of relax a bit. And then we're thinking of maybe buying another home, but that's probably somewhere down the line.
Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like you have a plan for the near future and then still kind of pending for the long term. Can I ask, what's the condition of your home? Have there been any upgrades or anything that you've fixed?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good condition. We remodeled it probably about 5 years ago. New kitchen, new floors, new paint. We just put in new Anderson windows. It probably needs a paint job on the outside. We haven't painted the outside in a long time, but overall, I'd say it's in pretty good condition. There's some little probably things here and there that will probably need to be touched up, but it's pretty much moving ready.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. And then sorry, I don't think I caught it or I asked you, how long have you been in that property for?
32 years now.
Okay, how much did you buy it for?
Wow. What was it? 189 or something like that?
Okay, yeah, so I mean, the market is way different now. Do you know how much it's going for? Do you have a number in mind?
Well, got a flyer recently that said, it's probably about 4 to 5 million, right? 189, about 45 million now, right? But I don't know, right? There was a house that sold down the street. It was a little bit bigger than ours, and I think that sold for around 3.8 or something like that, somewhere in there. But I'm curious to kind of see where my house is at, because I know, the market's kind of been a little funky on the news.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, so actually I would probably be able to give you a better price if I was able to go in person and walk the property. When would be a good time for me to meet with you?
Are you available on the weekends?
Yeah, I could do
My
that.
wife does Pilates all week, so like 4 times a day. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I could do the weekend. What time works?
Yeah, you can swing by Saturday morning. We're usually up early, 7 a.m. or anytime after 7 a.m.
Okay, perfect.
Is that too early for you?
We could do 8:30.
Okay, yeah, 8:30 works.
Awesome.
I have coffee.
Okay.
You drink coffee?
I do.
Okay.
Awesome. So, will your wife be drinking coffee with us? It
Yeah,
sounds like
Barbara will
she's
be there.
okay.
Yeah, Barbara.
Perfect. All right, perfect. So I look forward to meeting you and Barbara. I'll see you 8:30 on Saturday.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, guys. I try to mimic an older retired seller. Right? So, what did Tanya do well? Let's critique her call. First, let's give her props, right? Just for showing up, guys. Props, Tanya, for volunteering, coming up in front of everybody. That's how you get better, right? So great job on that. I think you smashed that call. It was really, really good. But let's critique it, right? What did she do really, really well?
The short, sweet, and to the point.
Well, really well. Let's go with the pros, right? What did she do really, really well?
I like how she asked how much they paid for the house and then just segued to, do you know the value?
Yeah.
I was really clean.
Okay. What else? What you do really well?
Her confidence was there.
Yeah.
Confidence, right? Tonality, confidence. Yeah, definitely. What else? Did she hit all the points pretty much? Yeah, about 90% of the points on there, right? Sometimes you may miss a thing or two, right? That's perfectly fine, but you pretty much hit 90% of everything, right? On there. Did she articulate or mention any of the value proposition? Like any of the points on the value proposition?
Walking the property, get the value.
Yeah. Walk the property, overview of the market, discuss your options, understand your goals. Did she touch on any of that?
Not so much, but I think that's going to be done at the appointment.
Yeah. She did. I think she did mention, once I walk the property, I'll be able to give you a better price on the home, right? So in a roundabout way, she did hit that point, right? So I think she hit that. The only thing I would add is just, maybe hitting a little bit more of the value proposition. And then I know I told you keep the call short, which I think the call length was good. But even, if you wanted to build a little bit more rapport in there and just ask a couple more questions, right? Like feed off of whatever I told you, right? Overall, I mean, that was a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Right. That was a 9. I know I'm like being picky right now, right? Because I always want you to grow when you come in here. But I think like you are ready to handle incoming seller calls.
And I think the big thing is you want to go back to the value when you're going to meet with them, because that makes them want to meet with you, right? Because that's where you get from where you set appointments and they don't show up or they cancel. That's because they don't see the value in it. So you want to circle back and give the value. When we meet, we're going to be doing this.
Yeah.
Right. It's great the way Enrique kind of illustrated those points because it's right there in front of you. Right?
Yeah.
You kind of circle back and kind of tighten it up by illustrating that to them. So then now they're excited to meet with you because you're going to cover all these things when we meet.
Yeah, so let's try that one more time, right? The closing part, but now I want you to just mention like a few of the points there. Super short and simple, but just reiterate, like put the bow on it of, hey, when we meet, we're gonna hit this, right?
Awesome. All right, Enrique. So, sorry.
So I already told you come by at
Okay.
8:30.
So
So
it's
hey, I'm
set.
hey,
Okay.
I'll be out there at 8:30, right? So you already got the appointment, but just retouch on the value, right?
All right, Enrique. So I'll be there 8:30. And then when we do meet, I want to definitely touch base on the market conditions, any recent sales in your area. That's going to help us determine the value of your home, and see what your house can sell for.
Okay, perfect. Maybe add in there about when I walk the property, right? So go add that in. And when I walk the property,
We'll be able to determine a more accurate value for your house.
yeah. So when you walk the property, the whole point of you walking it is to assess the condition, right? So what I say is, hey, the reason I come out and walk it is because I'll be able to assess the condition, and we'll be able to kind of go through some of those repairs that you talked about. And I'll give you some professional advice on what things you should focus on to get your home ready.
Okay.
All right, try that.
Okay.
In your own words.
Okay. All right, Enrique. So when I walk through your house, we will go over market conditions, also the condition of your home. That way I can give you some feedback, some professional feedback on anything you may need to fix on the home so that we can get it ready to sell.
Perfect. Right. All right, let's go. Good job. I know I'm putting you on the spot, right? But remember, that's what's going to go from a 9 to a 10, right? Because you already got most of it there. Adding that in is kind of just puts the bow on top, right? And then you're just re-ingraining like, hey, this is why I need to come, right? So then now they're not like, oh, let's just cancel, right? Now I'm like, oh, okay, well, I want to know what I should fix in my house. I want to meet with her, right? I want to know what the value is. I want to know if I should paint or not, right?
Or give a pulse on the
Or post on the market, right? Or what I got to do to prepare, right?
You're already providing.
Yeah.
Right, but they're already thinking, hey, she has a little bit of experience because she's in the town here. Give me some ideas.
Exactly.
Show me the way. Okay.
Exactly. Let's go. One more time for Tanya, guys. All right, guys, that's what we got today. So here's your homework is you need to practice this with somebody, right? We broke everything down, right? But do not leave here like, oh, great training, Enrique. And then you didn't. Tanya's the only one who raised her hand and volunteered, right? So as far as I'm concerned, I am comfortable now to start getting Tanya involved on some of these seller leads. But I haven't seen some of the other people yet. So I don't know if I'm comfortable with you yet, right? So I need to see you guys practice. I need to say, hey, Enrique, I practiced it. I'm ready. I pretty much got it down. Hey, let's do a quick little role play. Literally within 5 minutes, we could do a quick role play. I could interview you and I could say, all right, like I'm ready to throw you on some leads, right? Whether you're booking it and bringing a senior or whether you're ready to book it and handle it on your own, like we need to get these appointments because we have a lot of leads coming in, right? And we need to start setting more appointments. Yes. Well, training's over, right? So I want to excuse everybody who's online. But after, you and I can get together a little bit later. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Let me know if you need anything.